With this Layla acoustic guitar lesson, we'll focus on all of the rhythm and lead guitar parts, with guitar tabs, chord diagrams, and an accompanying karaoke practice video. We're going to cover it all with a step-by-step approach. For the intro rhythm progression, we're going to focus on 3 chord shapes, starting with a regular open D minor. Technically, we're going to only aim for the 4, 3, and 2 strings on this chord, which actually sounds a D power chord. For the most part, you want to aim for those 3 strings, but as we repeat this progression throughout the song, you're definitely going to be brushing that top string. So you want to fret a D minor, so you still sound in key when you brush that top string. From there, we go to a B flat power chord, and for that transition from D minor to B flat 5, which is a B flat power chord, take the first finger and shift down to the 5th string 1st fret. That's our bass note. Now I prefer to flatten my knuckle across the next 2 strings for a power chord. A lot of you may instead choose the 3rd and pinky finger, which is fine, but I like to flatten the 3rd finger. Both will work fine. And then from there we go to a C power chord, and then back to D minor. Before we work out the strum pattern, it's good to do a 1 strum approach just to get acclimated to the changes. So 1 strum in each chord, we'll go through it twice. And then we repeat it. Once you can do that, we'll now go to the strum pattern, and we're going to combine 2-note riffs with strum chords, and we're going to start by going 0-3 on that 5th string. You definitely want to use the 3rd finger because we're going to immediately go to D minor after this 2-note opening. So 0-2, and you count it. I count a 3 count. 1, 2, 3. Then another 2-note riff. Open 4th string down the 5th string 3rd fret. So it's kind of going up to D minor, then going down, or descending down to B flat, the B flat power chord. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then stay on that B flat. Throw in an extra 2 strums, down, up, down. Both are okay. Let's put that together. Then we shift up to a C power chord, and there's a lot of ways to play this. We're going to sync up with how it starts on the original recording. Then we'll show you some options or variations, but to match the tab here, it's going to be down, up, down. So it's a 3 count, down, up, down, but we're releasing the pressure to get that muted effect. And then back to D minor to end the progression there. Let's put it together. We'll do a once through, a slow walk through. 1, 2, ready, go. Next, we'll play the progression 2 consecutive times just to get the hang of it. 1, 2, ready, go. Now this progression and strum pattern will be repeated a lot throughout the song. It's played throughout the entire intro section. It'll be backing up the intro guitar solo, but then it's repeated later on for all the chorus sections as well as for the other guitar solo. So if you're playing an accompanying, which most of you will be doing, you got to fill in those gaps from a rhythmic perspective. What I'm getting at is those 2-note riffs. It sounds a little bit jagged if you keep repeating them. Again, you don't have a backup band. Most of you won't, like you hear on the original Unplugged recording. So I'm going to show you some variations to make it a little bit better for an unaccompanied performance. And to start, we'll review the what we just did with the strum pattern. here's the variation. And what that is after we do that one strum on the D minor, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then there's another variation we can throw in, and that's on the C. Instead of going, what I find myself doing is, as we repeat it, down, up, and then I throw in a mute on the third beat. So there's a couple ideas there with variations. And not only that, you can throw in the variations and they go back to the initial strum pattern. You kind of play it by feel. You can listen to the original recording, but what we're going to do now is I'm going to play about 5 measures in a row. I'll start with the initial strum pattern we did, then I'll throw in some variations, and you can see just how it'll sound put all together. 1, 2, ready, go. There's an idea on how to vary it up, and again, this progression is repeated throughout the complete intro. As we approach the verse section, there's a variation we throw it in. I call it the lead-in, and the lead-in, we'll break down the lead-in, then we'll show you how it fits in with everything. The lead-in features some power chords. It's just prior to the vocals kicking in, an A power chord, and then a C power chord. It's like a stop time. And then, it's a tricky transition here. The very first chord in the verse is a C sharp minor, a bar chord. And we'll do the verse, we'll get into that in the next clip. But as we work on the lead-in, it's very important to connect these 3 chords. And here's a few suggestions on how to do it. From the A power chord, just think going up 1 fret and shifting down to the C power chord. And then keeping that first finger aligned, simply shift it up 1 fret to the C sharp minor. Now I'll back it up to the beginning, not the very beginning, but the beginning of the progression to show you how the lead-in fits in with the progression. So here we go. And we'll do that one more time. The verse, we'll divide it into 2 sections, and for section 1 we'll start with that C sharp minor chord, and then keeping that bar along the 4th fret, we're going to shift down to a G sharp 7th chord, and then we'll go back to C sharp minor, and then we have a couple of, you're just playing the middle 2 strings. These are sort of implied chords. Your first finger flattened across the middle 2 strings on the 5th fret, and then you just tap down with the 3rd finger along the 7th fret, and those are, I would call those implied C and D chords. And then we're going to have a regular open E major chord for the final chord in this section. So let's put it all together and apply the strum pattern now. The strum pattern to start will be down, up, down, up, up, down. So with that C sharp minor, same strum with the G sharp 7. And again, this is just a way to sort of fall into the rhythm. There's all sorts of muting and variations when this progression is repeated, but this strum pattern, down, up, down, up, up, down, is a good way to fall into it. Then back to C sharp minor, down, up, down. Or 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2 on those middle strings. And And then for the E major, the initial strum. And now we'll put together the strum pattern for section 1. 1, 2, ready, go. Then for section 2, we shift up to the 2nd fret position. We're going to be barring along the 2nd fret, an F sharp minor, and then a B major. Not a very popular chord for guitar. B is a real pain in the neck to play. B major is. How I go about it, I flatten my 3rd finger, I flatten the knuckle across 3 strings. So we have the bass note, 5th string, 2nd fret, and then the 3rd finger leans across those other 3 strings. So F sharp minor chord shape, B major chord shape, open E again, an open A major. And the strum pattern for that, it's basically going to be sort of 4 each, but what I do is I tend to find myself starting with an up strum on the F sharp minor. That's within the, I don't know the right word you would say, within the context of the progression. What we're doing beforehand, you're going to end up, at least I end up doing an up strum, and it'll be a, or 1, 2, 3, 4, or up, down, up, down. Same thing on the B, and then on the E. Everything's the same on that 4-chord progression there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Back, and we're going to repeat it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the second time around on E, we just let it sustain, and then we'll go to A and let that sustain. That's sort of a lead-in to the chorus. But let's put together section 2 again, starting with the F sharp minor. 1, 2, ready, go. And again, this is repeated a few times throughout the song. There's a lot of variations, partial mutes you could throw in, but that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 is a good way, a good initial way to fall into that strum. Now let's put together all of the verse section, starting with that C sharp minor. 1, 2, ready, go. Again, that leads in to the chorus. Those of you that are going to be singing while strumming along, the next step is to focus on timing or syncing lyrics with the chord changes. And for those of you who have done this before, it won't be too tricky, but if you haven't really done a lot of syncing with lyrics, I'll give you a couple pointers on that. And the first step is to focus on key syllables that land on certain chord changes. And with the verse, we have the what will you do when you get lonely? So that first chord change to G sharp 7th, that first down strum will land on the first syllable of lonely. Get lonely. No one waiting by. And you may have already seen how that syncs up. Waiting by, literally lock in along with the drum beat and the lyrics, waiting by your side. Let's do that from the top. 1, 2, ready, and waiting by your side. Then for the next section, the key is to land running on that first B chord, on that first transition. course, pride, bam, right on that E chord, and then that first syllable, Layla, lay, and then the second syllable, la. At least that's what I do. I'm pretty sure he does that every time. That second syllable, Layla, lands on that first D minor. That'll lead into the chorus. The rhythm progression for the chorus, as we mentioned earlier, is the same as that used in the song's intro. So what we can do is jump right to syncing lyrics with the chord changes of the chorus. And first note, the key one I noticed is if we review the lyrics of the chorus, Layla, got me on my knees, Layla, begging darling please, Layla, darling won't you ease. Knees, please, ease, all land on a strummed D minor chord. And then, second thing I noticed that helped me lock in, Layla. He repeats Layla a lot, those two syllables, lay, that second note of the bass riff, or at least the fifth string, Layla. So with that, let's see how that sounds. We'll go through the progression. Remember, there's variations you can throw in. You're not going to strum it the same every time. We talked about that earlier as well. The key is certain lyrics with certain changes, and let's give you a rough idea how that'll sound. Layla, got me on my knees, Layla, begging darling please, Layla, darling won't you ease my worried mind. Another note on that, sounds a little bare, just the guitar. Remember on the original recording, there's a lot of backing with the rhythm. So those variations I mentioned earlier, throwing that in for the chorus might sound a little bit better as well for an unaccompanied performance. Once you have the intro, verse, and chorus sections down, rhythm-wise, pretty much you have most of the song, because it's just a matter of repeating these sections and working out the arrangement. The final step, rhythm-wise, is to learn the song's coda or ending. And what goes on there for the ending is the intro or chorus section is just going to be repeated. But there's a little variation here. Layla. For that very last time we go through that progression for the ending, we're just going to sustain that B flat power chord, lay, la, and then darling, an open C. So we're not going to go up to the power chord C. We're going to strum an open C. Darling, won't you ease my worry? And then on mind we end with the root chord D minor. Let's back that up a little bit and put that together. Layla, darling, won't you ease my worried mind? Now you could just do a single strum, or if you want for an unaccompanied performance, won't you ease my worried? Do what I call a little Hollywood ending, rev it up. Whenever you learn a guitar solo, it's always good to know what key you're playing in, what scales you're using, and also what box patterns to visualize or follow. And with the guitar solo to Layla, all the riffs are in the key of D minor. And these riffs are going to follow the D minor scale, and they're also going to be from the D pentatonic minor or blues scale. And so we'll start with the intro guitar solo. We're going to divide it into 3 sections. And with section 1, you see this box pattern here. It's a D minor scale along the 5th fret position. And we're going to start by flattening our 3rd finger on the middle 2 strings, 7th fret. So kind of dragging along those 3, 2, or 4, 3, and 2 strings. 7, 7, 5, 6. Do, dun, dun, dun. And then, staying on that 2nd string, a hammer pull off, 5, 6, 5, down to 7, and then back to that 2nd string, maybe a little vibrato on that last note there, the 3rd string, 7th fret. And let's put together that phrase from the beginning. back to the second string, 5th fret. We're going to play another phrase here. It's going to be some 3-note riffs, just kind of ascending up that second string. 5, 6, 8, then 6, 8, slide to 10. Let's back it up with those sliding riffs. And then, so there's your 3 riffs there, all 3 notes each, or 3 counts each as well. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that will end section 1. So let's put it all together from the top with a slow walkthrough. For section 2, we shift up 2 frets from the 8th fret position to the 10th fret. Our first finger is now aligned along the 10th fret position there. And we have a new box pattern. It'll be the D minor box pattern or scale along the 10th fret. And we're going to start with the 4-note riff, 10, 13, 10, 12 on the 1 string. So on the 2nd string, 10, 13, then 10, 12. And I'm going to suggest to use that 3rd finger, the stronger finger here, to fret the 13th fret. If you want, you can use your 4th pinky. But let's put that 4-note phrase together. Then, keeping that first finger anchored on that top string, we do a hammer pull-off, 10, 12, 10. Only pluck it once from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a 3-note phrase down to that 2nd string, 13th fret, 13 up to 10, top string back down to 13 on the 2nd string. From the top. And then, with that 3rd finger, we shift down to the 10th fret on that 2nd string, same string, and a 4-note riff, 10, 8, 10, 8. And then we're going to pivot down again back to the 5th fret position, the D minor scale we started the solo with. And there's going to be a double pull off here. So backing it up to back with the 10, 8, 10, 8. Then the pinky goes on that same note. And then a 4-note riff to end it. Backing it up to that double pull-off. Let's put it all together from the beginning. One note on the ending to section 2. That last note, if you listen closely to the original unplugged recording, you really don't hear this note sounded on the guitar, but you do hear it played on the piano. There's also a piano playing riffs along with the guitar solo. And what I think he really did land on this note. It just harmonizes with that piano root note as well. They're both phrasing really good, landing on that root note with phrases. So even though you don't hear that note in the original recording, I'm going to suggest to end on it because I think he really did play it. For section 3, we're still in the same box pattern. We're going to play a descending phrase, and it starts with the 4-note riff, going 7, 5, 6, 5. 7 on that 3rd string, up to the 2nd string. Now we count that as a 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we start descending down. 7, 5, 7. 3 count there. And then, I believe it's a slide from 7 to 5 as we go down to that 4th string. And then, dun, dun. Now we put that together as a 4 count, starting with the slide. 7 to 5. Dun, It's not quite that slow, it's a little faster. Let's put together, piece it together from the beginning what we've got so far. And then the rest of this riff is sort of buried in the mix. Here's a guesstimate on how to end it. Bum, 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 bum. And that's going to start with the slide on that 4th string up to the 5th fret, 2 fret slide, 3 to 5. It's important to use the 1 and 3 fingers. We're shifting down to what is actually D blues along the 3rd fret position, and there is a box pattern where kind of all these riffs fall into. So with that, let's put together all of section 3. The next clip will put together all 3 sections, the complete intro guitar solo, and we'll play it at a slower tempo, about 70-75% speed. That way you can focus on getting the correct notes, and then later on work on improving the speed. The main guitar solo consists of 8 total sections or 4 lines, 2 sections per line. We're going to go about this learning a section at a time, but for every 2 sections we'll have a review clip to help you start to put together the complete solo. We also have a separate clip at the end of this section where you can play the complete solo at about 70% speed, and that will help set you up for the next step at playing along with the original recording at full speed. So with that, let's go to the first section. We're going to the 5th fret position. We're going to be focusing on some D blues riffs along the 5th fret position using double stops, playing 2 strings together. And how we're going to align our fingers to start, I would suggest the 1, 2, and 3 fingers kind of like in a diagonal line on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings, 5th, 6th, and 7th frets. And with that, we start with the double stop. And what that is we're going to slightly bend the 2nd string, 6th fret, while playing the double stop. And how we would count the opening riff, 1, 2, 3, with that 3rd finger on the 3rd string, 7th fret. And once you have that, the next riff is just a variation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Or you could also count it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Whatever works, but let's put it together now from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then a descending riff, 7, 5, 7. I like to do a pull-off. I forget right now if they do a pull-off or not in the original recording. It's played very fast, but 1, 2, 3, do. And then playing that 4th string, 5th fret again. Slight bend on that last note, not necessary for a full one, but let's put together the complete riff, or all of section 1, I should say. 1, 2, ready, and... For section 2, we move up to the 8th fret position. Again, still playing D blues and still playing some double stops. This double stop, 1st finger on the top string, 8th fret, 3rd finger, 2nd string, 10th fret. And we're going to slide up to that. What I mean is go down 1 fret and then stay on it, 2, 3. So the count would be, the 1 would be the slide. 1, 2, 3. Then just sort of keep going with this double stop. Again, we're sliding 1, 2, 1, 2. Then again, 1, 2, 1, 2 again, then another 1, 2. And then there's a riff that ends it. I'm going to give my way of playing it. It sort of sounds incomplete on the recording. There's piano and guitar playing together. So I like to do something here. It's those last two notes that really don't stand out so much, but at least it ends the phrase properly. So let me do that riff again. That's the top string, 8, 10, then a slight bend on the second string, 8th fret, 3rd string, 10th fret. And now we'll put together all of section 2. 1, 2, ready, and... Section 3, it's important to link those last notes from the previous section, section 2, that suggested riff I showed you. Actually, that last note from section 2 is the first note of section 3. It's played at the beginning of the progression. We're going to play that note again, but this time we're going to pivot. We're going to shift to the first finger now. We're going to move up to the D minor box pattern along the 10th fret. And then pivoting, and then we start an ascending riff in this box pattern. 10, 12, then next string 10, 13. I would suggest the third finger, but if you want, use your pinky. 10, 13, 10, 12. So that ascending riff again from the third string. 10, 12, 10, 13, 10, 12. Then staying on the top string, a hammer pull-off combo. And then a back and forth, third finger again goes down to the second string, 13, 10, 13. Dun, dun, dun. Well, I wouldn't necessarily hold it. Let's put that together from the top. And then dropping down to the second string. Again, if you use the right fingers, everything's aligned. Our first finger now will be on the second string, 10th fret. I'm going to play this note 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. But a little bit of a dramatic effect. There's sort of a stop time feel. And I actually like to kind of alternate with up it. And then a 3-note riff. We're going to imply, well, we already did that once with the minor scale on the top string, 12th fret. But also another note from the D minor scale is that 11th fret. That's going to end section 1. So backing up to that sort of dramatic sounding where we play the 10th fret 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, 10, 12. And now we'll put it together, all of section 3 from the top. Section 4, we're going to start with the descending riff going down the 3rd string. So backing up to how we ended section 3. Right now we're on the 3rd string, 10th fret. That's how we ended section 3. And then we're going to go down just a quick 2-note, 10, 9. And then same first finger goes down 2 frets. So the beginning of section 4, dun, 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 dun. Again, pivoting down another 2 frets to the 5th fret position. 1, 2, 3. I just happened to flatten my knuckle across those middle 2 strings for the 2 notes on the 7th fret. Backing it up again to the beginning. go to the second string. So 5, 6, then a hammer pull off. Then I count this in threes. We're going to descend down the box pattern. 7, 5, 7. Then passing tone again. 6, 5, 3. So backing up to that descending riff. And then staying on the same string, back up to the 5th fret. Bum, bum, boom, down to that 5th string, 5th fret, D root note, little vibrato. Bum, bum, boom. Now let's put it all together. For section 5, we go up to the 10th fret position, and we're going to start with a scream and bend on that top string. And to get a strong bend on the one string, you still want to use multiple fingers, starting with the 3rd finger on that 13th fret. But right next to it, you'll use your 1 and 2 fingers. And you don't need to space out the fingers according to the frets. The main finger will be along the fret, the 13th, but the 1 and 2, you kind of scrunch them together. That's going to give you better control over the bend and also better tone with more fingers pressing against that fretboard. But anyways, we start with that bend. And then we go down to the 10th fret, same string, 1 finger vibrato, and that's that type of vibrato. There's a lot of ways to get vibrato. You're going to use your forearm more for that. Anyways, back to the beginning. And then a 3-note phrase, 13 on that bottom string, 10, 12, and then a hammer from the 10 to 12, back to 10, and back down to 13. Here's that phrase. Back to the beginning. And then a little 3-note riff ends this section. 2nd string, 10th fret. I kind of want to go 10, 12, 10, but I believe it's more accurate to be on the 13th fret. Dun, dun, dun. With that, let's put together the complete section. Here we go. Section 6, we start with a similar bending riff that we started section 5 with, just one variation, and that's this note. We add that 1st string 10th fret, and then the same bend we did previously, and the same 1 finger vibrato. So back to the beginning. And then we pivot up to the 13th fret position, our 1 and 3 fingers, 13th fret, 1st finger, 15th fret, 3rd finger. And then, again, some strong bending on the 1st string, starting with the 2nd string, 13th fret, then the bending here. So, sort of 3 consecutive times on that 15th fret. The first 2 are stronger bends. Then the final one, you're still sort of bent, but you're not actually changing the pitch too much, but it's slightly off than the normal fretted note. So, here's what I mean. And then we end bending the the top string 13th fret. And you can do that with 1 finger. It'll be a little tough, but let's put it all together. Section 6. section 7, we'll be up along the 12th fret position. That's where our first finger will be aligned. With our 4th pinky finger, we'll go up 3 frets to the 2nd string 15th fret. And we start this section with the 4-note phrase, starting with that 2nd string 15th fret. And then we go up to the top string, 12, 13, 15. And if we were to count that, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we keep our fingers in position. A 2-note riff, 13, 15, and then 12, 13. So from the top, if we count it all off, it would, how I would do it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then we go down, shift down 2 frets, 10th fret position. We're now in the D blues box pattern, and what that is descending down the box pattern, not in chronological order though, sort of 10, 13, and then down to the 3rd string, 12, 10, then back to the 13th fret. It's unusual, but sounds cool. And then we have a 4-note phrase that ends it, descending riff, 10, then down to the 3rd string, 12, 10, and then down to the D root note, 4th string, 12th fret. Let's play all of section 7 now from the beginning. One more time. For section 8, we're going to shift down to the 5th fret position. We're going to play some riffs now based from the D minor box pattern along the 5th fret. And there's a bunch of double stops, but for the very first note, I actually prefer to play one note. Single note, I should say, on the 2nd string 5th fret. You could play a double stop. It's kind of buried in the mix. But with that, we play that first note, and then we're going to follow with a double stop. You're going to have your first finger flattened, partially barred on the top 2 strings when we start this, because then we go right into a double stop where we play the top 2 strings, but we're going to hammer the 2nd string 5 to 6. That's how it's going to sound. And then we're going to release that hammer. Not a pull off, but just, in fact, I'll play it from the beginning. That's how it'll sound. And then what I like to do, and I mentioned what I like to do, again, it's kind of hard to decipher when you listen to the original recording. Again, notes are kind of buried in the mix. But I like to play a double stop riff, shifting down to the 3rd fret position. First finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, pinky on the top string 5th fret. That's sort of how you're going to anchor your fretting hand, but we're going to also, on the same 2nd string, our 3rd finger's going to play or fret the 2nd string 5th fret. And here's the riff. You're going to start with that 3rd finger down and then release the 3rd finger. So it's like a 3 count. 1, 2, 3. Slight pause, same double stop, 1, 2. Release for that 2 count. And then backing up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Let's go to the beginning. Then we end with the descending riff, pivoting up to the 5th fret position, 3rd string 5th fret, 5, 7, and I like to throw in a passing tone. I'm not sure if, again, it's hard to decipher, or maybe bending the 5th fret. Either way will be fine. I'll leave a comment if you happen to know or prefer which one sounds better, but with that, and then we go down, last 2 notes. Little bend on that 4th string 3rd fret to end it. Let's put it all together from the beginning. 1, 2, ready, go. And we'll do that one more time. For the ending, there's a solo played along with that final strum D minor chord, and it's sort of buried in the mix a little bit, but again, we're going to be up at the 5th fret position playing riffs from the D minor scale. And what I would do a 5-7, dun, 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 5-7, 5-6, then a hammer pull off. And then again, it's sort of a guesstimate here, but what I'll do is play up the minor scale 5-6-8-6-5, sort of up and down that second string. And then a descending riff. And then 7-6-5, definitely want to throw in that passing tone. And then we'll follow the tab here, 3-5, 3-5, 3, boom. But again, it's not that important that you play it note for note. You can kind of... Key is just ending on the D root note on that 5th string, 5th fret. But let's put together the riff and we'll follow the tab. Once you have each section memorized, the final step is to put together a complete arrangement or performance of the song. And you can practice that along with my Layla Karaoke video, where you can either sing along with Layla Karaoke, play guitar with Layla Karaoke, or do both.